Innovating Education Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.
Welcome to Learning World. This week we're zooming in on Finland. The Scandinavian country is recognised worldwide for its top-ranking education model. Foreign observers frequently visit the country to try and discover the secret of its success. And that's exactly what we'll be doing in this edition of Learning World. We start by spending a day at a school in the capital Helsinki to find out more about the philosophy behind the Finnish system.
Finland has the shortest formal teaching hours in Europe and the best educational results. Finnish children stay with the same class and the same teacher for at least 6 years, which makes school like an extension of home.
I have been teaching this class for 4 years now, and it has been very nice, very interesting to see them grow and learn, and for me it's the best way to teach. It's almost like to be a second mother.
Competition to become a teacher is so fierce that teachers all have master's degrees.
What is also maybe quite special in Finland is that the teachers are very autonomous in what they do. So they can, for example, choose the materials they like or the pedagogy what they use, and so they have a lot of freedom in their work.
Children learn by playing and experimenting in groups, like in this science class.
It is important for children to understand the natural world and the different species, as this will help them respect the environment.
In Finland, playtime is an important part of learning. There are lots of breaks, and even in winter, children are encouraged to play outdoors. The children are trusted, even in the canteen. They're allowed to help themselves. There are no dinner ladies here. The accent is on music, sports and the arts. And before you tell yourself that this school must be an exception, let me tell you, it's a typical Finnish school, and the results they get here are replicated all over the country.
While it's hard to argue against the strengths of Finland's education model, not everyone agrees that it is the only model. Earlier, I caught up with Charles Leadbeater in London. He's a global education analyst who explains that it's not a case of one size fits all. Finland's education system is held up as one of the most high-performing, but I don't think that's something you necessarily agree with.
Finland's an enormously impressive place, but there are other aspects to Finland which might not be so great, and certainly there are aspects to Finnish society which make it always difficult to learn from. The small scale, it's very consensual, and it's very culturally homogeneous. And what we shouldn't think is that it's the only model that we should follow. It's one very effective model of teaching and learning and schooling, but it's not necessarily the only, or even in some cases the best model to follow to improve education.
But there are some aspects of the Finnish education system that can be applied to the wider world, to different education systems. For example, the Finns are very into encouraging autonomy in the classroom, creativity, innovation. How can we apply that on a more global scale?
Well, I think parts of the Finnish system are really, really good, and what you want to learn from Finland is really about teaching. They get very good people into teaching. They only take 10% of people who apply become teachers. And as a result, the sort of ethos in Finnish schools is very open to people using their time creatively to get better results with students. So as models for teaching and learning in schools, it's difficult to better.
Some Finns who've got an eye for business have realised that they can export the Finnish education model around the world in a sort of pick-and-mix situation. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that's a great idea because all around the world people need models for education which are effective, and Finland has a great model. So there are bits of that you can bottle up and you can sell and provide to other people about teacher training, teacher development, teacher management, the way that schools are organised. So you can do that bit. But the other bit of Finland is that there's a huge culture of learning in Finland. It comes from Finland's past. I mean, it's a kind of culture that respects and promotes learning. That's very difficult to get. These aren't things that can simply be kind of packaged up like commodities. Education's more complicated than that.
But despite Charles Leadbeater's reticence, Finland's reputation means that there's a high demand for exporting its education model to other countries. In our next report, we look at how it's done.
This is a typical school building in Finland. Open spaces, relaxing corners, meeting facilities.
Based on our theories, other countries also want to build schools which are quiet, easy to access and encourage the children to work together.
In Abu Dhabi, they're building schools modelled on Finnish ones.
School building should be for learning, and the learning should be the idea, the interest for the kids, not the architecture. It's not a Disneyland, it's a school.
The Abu Dhabi school has separate areas for boys and girls. It also has prayer facilities. For the next school, they want a whole package from Finland, including teacher training, technology and materials, and supplying the services.
So the idea is that the new technologies and the pedagogical ideas we have are not aiming at knowledge transmission from teacher to student, but it's more about activating students. It's more about how people learn to create knowledge together.
Since everyone wants a slice of Finland's success, why not sell the elements of their education system?
If we can change the world to make it more democratic, maybe less wars, maybe less hunger, and if it's through education, and we're good in education, let's then do it through education and exporting the educational values and export education itself.
That's it for now, but next week we'll be travelling the world again, looking at the role of education in forming future leaders. And you can find all our Learning World reports online at euronews.net/Learning World. So see you next week for more stories from Learning World.
Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.